program prepared this evening, and to introduce that program, I'd like to share with you that the Baha'i Faith is an independent world religion. The fundamental principles enunciated by Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i Faith, are the oneness of God, the oneness of religion, and the oneness of humankind. Baha'u'llah taught that divine revelation is a continuous and progressive process, and that the missions of the messengers of God represent successive stages in the spiritual evolution of human society. So this afternoon you have come to a Baha'i funeral, and the Baha'i funeral services are simple and dignified. We have no clergy in the Baha'i faith. Therefore, the conduct of the service, such as this one, and the arrangements for interment are left to the relatives or the family of the deceased in consultation with the local Baha'i community. And each service is unique. And so this afternoon, I'd like to ask you, as we are here to commemorate the life of Jahan, that we sit back and enjoy the program. Thank you.
Start with a prayer. Glory be to thee, O Lord my God. Abase not him whom thou hast extolled through the power of thine everlasting sovereignty, and remove not far from thee him in whom thou hast caused to enter the tabernacle of thine eternity. Wilt thou cast away, O my God, him whom thou hast overshadowed with thy lordship? And wilt thou turn away from thee, O my desire, him in whom thou hast been a refuge? Canst thou degrade him whom thou hast uplifted, or forget him whom thou didst enable to remember thee? Glorified, immensely glorified art thou. Thou art he who from everlasting hath been the king of the entire creation, and its prime mover, and thou wilt to everlasting remain the Lord of all created things and their ordainer. Glorified art thou, O my God. If thou ceasest to be merciful unto thy servants, who then will show mercy unto them? And if thou refusest to succor thy loved ones, who is there that can succor them? Glorified, immensely glorified art thou. Thou art adored in thy truth, and thee do we all verily worship. And thou art manifest in thy justice, and to thee do we all verily bear witness. Thou art, in truth, beloved in thy grace. No God is there but thee, the help in peril, the self-subsisting.
O Son of Man, thou art my dominion, and my dominion perisheth not. Wherefore fearest thou thy perishing? Thou art my light, and my light shall never be extinguished. Why dost thou dread extinction? Thou art my glory, and my glory fadeth not. Thou art my robe, and my robe shall never be outworn. Abide then in thy love for me, that thou mayest find me in the realm of glory.
He is God. Exalted is He, the Lord of loving kindness and bounty. Glory be unto Thee, Thou, O my God, the Lord omnipotent. I testify to Thine omnipotence and Thy might, Thy sovereignty and Thy loving kindness, Thy grace and Thy power, the oneness of Thy being and the unity of Thine essence, Thy sanctity and exaltation above the world of being and all that is therein. O my God, Thou seest me detached from all save Thee, holding fast unto Thee and turning unto the ocean of Thy bounty, to the heaven of Thy favor, to the day star of Thy grace. Lord, I bear witness that in Thy servant Thou hast reposed Thy trust, and that is the Spirit wherewith Thou hast given life to the world. I ask of Thee, by the splendor of the orb of Thy revelation, mercifully to accept from Him that which He hath achieved in Thy days. Grant then that He may be invested with the glory of Thy good pleasure and adorned with Thine acceptance. O my Lord, I myself and all created things bear witness unto Thy might, and I pray Thee not to turn away from Thyself this Spirit that hath ascended unto Thee, unto Thy heavenly place, Thine exalted paradise, and Thy retreats of nearness, O Thou who art the Lord of all men. Grant then, O my God, that Thy servant may consort with Thy chosen ones, Thy saints and Thy messengers in heavenly places, that the pen cannot tell, nor the tongue recount. O my Lord, the poor one hath verily hastened unto the kingdom of Thy wealth, the stranger unto his home within Thy precincts. He that is sore athirst to the heavenly river of Thy bounty, deprive him not, O Lord, from his share of the banquet of Thy grace, and from the favor of Thy bounty. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the gracious, the all-bountiful. O my God, Thy trust hath been returned unto Thee. It behooveth Thy grace and Thy bounty that have compassed Thy dominions in earth and in heaven, to vouchsafe unto Thy newly welcomed one Thy gifts and Thy bestowals, the fruits of the tree of Thy grace. Powerful art Thou to do as Thou willest. There is none other God but Thee, the gracious, the most bountiful, the compassionate, the bestower, the pardoner, the precious, the all-knowing. I testify, O my Lord, that Thou hast enjoined upon men to honor their guest, and he that hath ascended unto Thee hath verily reached Thee and attained Thy presence. Deal with him then according to Thy grace and bounty. By Thy glory I know of a certainty that Thou wilt not withhold Thyself from that which Thou hast commanded Thy servants, nor wilt Thou deprive him that hath clung to the cord of Thy bounty, and hath ascended to the dayspring of Thy wealth. There is none other God but Thee, the one, the single, the powerful, the omniscient, the bountiful.
We all come from God, and unto Him do we return, and unto Him do we return. We all come from God, and unto Him do we return. Like a stream flowing back to the ocean, like a ray of light returning to the sun. We all come from God, and unto Him do we return. We all come from God, and unto Him do we return.
You ask an explanation of what happens to us after we leave this world. This is a question which none of the prophets have ever answered in detail, for the very simple reason that you cannot convey to a person's mind something entirely different from everything they have ever experienced. Abdul Baha gave the wonderful example of the relation to this life, to the next life, being like the child in the womb. It develops eyes, ears, hand, feet, a tongue, and yet it has nothing to see. It cannot walk or grasp things or speak. All these faculties it is developing for this world. If you try to explain to an embryo what this world is like, it could never understand. But it understands when it is born, and its faculties can be used. So we cannot picture our state in the next world. All we know is that our consciousness, our personality, endures in some new state, and that world is much better than this one, as this one is better than the dark womb of our mother was.
Reading. To consider that after death, the body, after the death of the body, the spirit perishes, Abdul Baha has said, is like imagining that a bird in a cage will be destroyed if the cage is broken. Though the bird has nothing to fear from the destruction of the cage, our body is like the cage, and the spirit is like the bird. If the cage becomes broken, the bird will continue to exist. Its feelings will be even more powerful. Its perception and its happiness increased.
O my God, verily thy servant, humble before the majesty of thy divine supremacy, lowly at the door of thy oneness, hath believed in thee and in thy verses, hath testified to thy word, hath been enkindled with the fire of thy love, hath been immersed in the depths of the ocean of thy knowledge, hath been attracted by thy breezes, hath relied upon his supplications to thee, and hath been assured of thy pardon and forgiveness. He had abandoned this mortal life, and had flown to the kingdom of immortality, yearning for the favor of meeting thee. O Lord, glorify his station. Shelter him under the pavilion of thy supreme mercy. Cause him to enter the glorious paradise and perpetuate his experience in thine exalted rose garden, that he may plunge into the sea of light in the world of mysteries. Verily, thou art the generous, the powerful, the forgiver, and the bestower.
Verily, we are God's, and to him shall we return. Jahan Abadi was predeceased by his parents, Ruhollah Rahmani and Safa Manshadi Rahmani. He is survived by his wife of 10 years, Gilda Abadi, his children, Giv Abadi, Gisu Abadi, Hamid Abadi, Chanel Ramirez, Jahandar Abadi, and Safa Abadi. His brothers, Abadullah Rahmani and Rahmani, his sister, Mandokht Khab, and his previous wife, Ashraf Abadi.
Jahan and his family arrived in the fall of 1979. From the very beginning, Jahan wasted no time in finding work. But because of language barriers, he didn't have much luck. So instead, he became a vendor of fruits and meats out of the back of his own van. He was resourceful, and even in times of limited means, he was very generous to others around him. After moderate success, he was hired by Mr. Joe Mena to run his butcher shop. Soon after, he opened his own small market stall selling used car parts. This then became the starting point for Jahan's auto parts store that brought him and his family much financial success. Jahan met his wife Gilda in 2002, but before she would agree to date him, he had to win the approval of her daughter, Chanel. Gilda fell in love with his charm and personality and his soul, which was filled with much love. She loved his dedication to family and how he always put them first. They took many amazing family trips together. He was a dedicated justice of the peace, and he was always ready to help anyone who needed guidance with immigration and legal papers. He was always willing to step up and go above and beyond to help anyone in need, whether it was advice, fixing their cars, or giving them a place to stay. He was a member of the Baha'i community and was willing to volunteer anytime needed. He was also a good friend to the Guatemalan Baha'i community. He was a generous host and would welcome visitors with delicious tea and food, and he was known for his kebabs, hummus, and funny stories. If you had the opportunity to travel with him and his family, you knew you would arrive very quickly because he was a fast driver. And he'd have adventure, and you knew you were going to have an adventure because he knew how to find the best spots to visit, eat, and explore. He knew how to live in the moment and enjoy the journey without stressing about where to go next. He will be greatly missed by his dear family, friends, and community. Beyond that, the family wishes to acknowledge the Waite family, the Mena family, the Hall family, the Escalante family, and the Baha'i family. And would
as families, we all carry on. So thank you.
Also like to extend special thanks to Dr. Gomez, Dr. Cuellar, Dr. Arteaga, Dr. Ramirez, Dr. Cardenas, and Mr. Anthony Sylvester. And we'd like to end this eulogy with a quote from the Baha'i writings. Death proffereth unto every confident believer the cup that is life indeed. It bestoweth joy and is the bearer of gladness. It conferreth the gift of everlasting life.
The world beyond is a world of sanctity and radiance. Therefore, it is necessary that in this world he should acquire these divine attributes. In that world, there is need of spirituality, faith, assurance, and the knowledge and love of God. These he must attain in this world, so that after his ascension from the earthly to the heavenly kingdom, he shall find all that is needful in that life eternal ready for him. It's your turn to read. You want to sit down?
I was supposed to read the end.
Yeah, we're at the end. We're here.
I'm going to read that now.
Mhm.
O peerless Lord, praise be thou for having kindled the gas of the concourse on high, for having guided that bird of faithfulness to the nest of the Abha kingdom. Thou hast joined that precious river to the mighty sea. Turn that spread this into the garden of reunion, and led him who longed to look upon thee to thy presence in thy bright place of lights. Thou art the Lord of tender love. Thou art the last goal of the yearning heart. Thou art the dearest wish of the martyr's soul.
I would like to invite anyone who would like to say something, a memory of that you had from Jahan, to come up here, and the floor is open for you.
Okay, it's working now. It's working.
You prefer this one?
Yes, it's working.
I'd just like to share, my mom asked me to share the story that I always remember when I met Jahan. Amatul Bahari here, Khanum, had come to Belize, and it was in San Ignacio area. So we had to come from PG and Corozal. We had to figure out where we would stay in Belmopan to get ready to go to Cayo. And they put us in this house with this TV with no sofas, right? And it had a rug, a small rug. And I remember as a child, I was only 5 years old, and 5, 6. And they said I was supposed to sleep out there, right? because it wasn't a big house that he had when he started out. And I was put in front of the TV, and he came and he said, "Oh, you don't know how to work this TV?" And the TV was on the ground. I was on the ground on the rug. And he said, "It can go up to 100 channels." And he did, and I knew that he moved very fast. I was like, "Okay, wait, I want to see that one." He said, "No, I want to show you it can go over to 100. And so he was very welcoming of other people and very friendly and willing to share the little that he had. And so on behalf of